only $297 per month. With 100% financing packages, it's easy to qualify. As an added bonus, purchase before December 31st and make no house payment for 5 full months. Over 100 plans available, from economy to luxury, at Bonanza Homes on McLaughlin Boulevard across from the Bomber and on 82nd Avenue, 1/4 mile north of Johnson Creek Boulevard.
Hurricane Opal is soaking the southeast after tearing up the Florida Panhandle. Death and almost $2 billion in damage. O.J. Simpson speaks out about the evidence and enjoys a reunion with his children by his late wife. A ceasefire in Bosnia is scheduled for next week and now plans for U.S. troops as peacekeepers. NBC News in depth tonight, a charismatic pope, a divided church in America, a crossroads of faith.
From NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. It wasn't quite a sucker punch, but when Hurricane Opal roared ashore along the Florida Panhandle during the night, most residents had cleared out just hours before, and it's a good thing. This was a powerful, fast-moving hurricane with terrifying winds and high seas. We have 2 reports tonight, beginning with NBC's Robert Hager at Ground Zero.
This is just some of the estimated $1.8 billion worth of damage the insurance industry estimates Hurricane Opal caused. These vacation homes are on Pensacola Beach, Florida. And this one, picked up and then deposited 1,000 feet offshore by the storm surge, is from Navarre Beach. These garden apartments, their fronts ripped off to leave them exposed like dollhouses, are in Miramar. Pockets of destruction concentrated from Pensacola to Panama City and beyond. A 115-mile stretch of vacation playland now left in shambles. The problems are enormous. 6 dead in Florida and neighboring states, and debris everywhere. This is what a street looks like today in Navarre, and this is what a highway looks like along the Barrier Islands. This is how the storm piled up expensive yachts like so many toys in the town of Gulf Breeze. And this is what the storm did to one couple's boat, lifted it from the bay to their front yard swimming pool. Erosion has occurred all along the shore, the storm taking its toll on shrinking coastline. Authorities took stock today, began assessing just what the huge cleanup effort will take, and what the huge relief effort will take as well, and what the impact will be on tourism in an area that brings in $1.5 billion a year to the Florida economy. If there was one bright note, it's that many large, substantial buildings, high-rise condominiums and the like, withstood the storm. But for many owners of smaller homes, the shock is extreme. In the most heavily damaged areas, property owners are being kept out for the time being. Eva Hale could only search across the distant bay to try to find her house, but without success. Her husband, Clinton.
What it looks like right now, I don't see a house out there.
Tonight, they fear the worst. Just 2 among many victims of this brutal hurricane. Robert Hager, NBC News, Pensacola, Florida.
This is Kenley Jones in Destin, Florida. This resort and retirement community in the Florida Panhandle is in shock over the devastation left by Opal. A storm surge estimated at between 15 and 20 feet, accompanied by 125-mile-an-hour winds, knocked expensive condominiums from their foundations and crushed protective seawalls.
I've lived here my whole life, and I've never seen anything like this, and I'm really saddened and overwhelmed with what I'm seeing out here right now.
The Florida Insurance Council estimates the cost of damage to insured property by Opal is second only to Hurricane Andrew. But the damage doesn't stop in Florida. As Opal roared north from the Florida line, it caused extensive flooding in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and the Carolinas. In those states, more than 2 million people are without power, which will take days, even weeks to restore. Back in Destin, under a brilliant sky, tourists and residents alike came to the water's edge to see what Opal had left behind. Some, like City Councilman Chester Kroger, said it could have been a whole lot worse.
It's obvious the devastation that took place with it as a Category 3 when it made landfall, but if it had been a 4 or a 5, there's no telling what we would be seeing today.
What they are seeing is bad enough. Kenley Jones, NBC News, Destin, Florida.
And tonight, far out in the Atlantic, the next storm, just named Pablo. Winds now just 40 miles an hour. It won't threaten land for at least a week, but there is no assurance it will become a full-blown hurricane even then. When NBC Nightly News continues, Rocky Mountain love songs tonight.
Oh, I can hear him. You hear that?
The amazing mating season of the American elk. And when we come back, O.J. Simpson's freedom, what next for him and his children?
Considering the fact that we haven't introduced an entirely new Range Rover in 25 years, we thought the least we could do was show it to you.
The caffeine removed, the spirit untouched. Made from 100% Colombian beans, the richest coffee in the world. Naturally decaffeinated. You taste this decaffeinated and you will taste the spirit of coffee.
Can France and Italy, Austria and England, Germany, Spain, and the Netherlands ever really agree on a single currency? Actually, they already have. Gold MasterCard. It's accepted at more cash machines around the world.
Excuse me, guys.
Than any other card. Look for your Gold MasterCard invitation in the mail and apply today.
Now the latest on O.J. Simpson, his second full day of freedom, and he is beginning to speak out for himself, but still no public appearances. Here's NBC's David Bloom with the latest.
Today, Simpson attorney Johnny Cochran appealed to the families of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman to drop their wrongful death suits and urged the Browns not to fight for custody of young Sidney and Justin.
O.J. Simpson has custody of these children. The Browns were interim custody.
Last night, in a phone call to Larry King, Simpson accused prosecutor Marcia Clark of misrepresenting the testimony of limousine driver Alan Park, who described seeing a shadowy figure outside Simpson's house.
Which was me walking out of my front door, dropping my bags and going back in. Put an X. She asked him, put an X where you saw this person. 15 feet, never on the driveway, never coming down the driveway, never crossing a driveway. Fortunately for me, the jury listened to what the witnesses said and not Marcia Clark's or Darden's or anyone else's rendition of what they said.
In her closing argument to jurors, Clark put the shadowy figure farther away from the front door. The bitter feud between Simpson's lawyers continues. F. Lee Bailey telling People magazine that Robert Shapiro wanted Simpson to plead guilty to manslaughter. Shapiro categorically denies it. David Bloom, NBC News, Los Angeles.
There's also been a good deal of speculation about the reunion of Simpson and his children by his late wife, 9-year-old Sidney and 7-year-old Justin. Today, Simpson's friend A.C. Collins told NBC's Maria Shriver that the reunion went beautifully. In his words, the children were happy to see their father. He said it was very emotional. They watched videos, played games, and had dinner with Arnell and Jason, children from O.J. Simpson's first marriage. Collins said the younger children stayed with their father until this afternoon. He said reports that they were returned to the Brown family after midnight were, quote, a flat-out lie. He said other rumors that pictures and the story of the reunion with the younger children were sold to the tabloid Star newspaper, another flat-out lie, in the words of A.C. Collins. In related news tonight, more from the Justice Department about its investigation into the Los Angeles Police Department triggered by the Mark Furman episode. Joining me now is NBC's Pete Williams. Pete?
Tom, it's a formal Justice Department investigation of police misconduct run by the department's Civil Rights Division with help from the FBI. Triggered by a letter from the NAACP, it's an investigation of Mark Furman's claims that police single out blacks for arrest with no good reason, tamper with evidence, and lie in court about their misconduct. And it asks for an investigation of Furman's claims that black suspects were beaten and tortured in 1978 after a shooting incident involving 2 LA police officers. Attorney General Reno today promised a full investigation.
We would look at specific allegations and take appropriate action.
So far, this is a civil case looking at whether there's a pattern of police misconduct, and if the answer is yes, then the police department could be ordered to make changes, like providing better training, for example, Tom.
Thank you, Pete. When we come back, NBC News in depth tonight, the Pope in America, the Holy Father and his flock not always seeing eye to eye.
Presenting the no-fee Ford Citibank card. With every purchase, you get an amazing 5% Ford rebate that grows toward the purchase or red carpet lease of a new Ford or Lincoln Mercury, like an Explorer, a Continental, or even a Mustang. Which means you can save big and really knock down your monthly car payment. All with the superior services of Citibank. Call 1-800-374-7777 for the no-fee Ford Citibank card.
In the spirit of Italian generosity, the Olive Garden offers you the never-ending pasta bowl, just $6.95. Choose your favorite from our special Olive Garden pasta menu. Then mangia. Enjoy as many free refills as you want. Choose from spaghetti and meat sauce, creamy fettuccine Alfredo, and many more delicious never-ending Olive Garden favorites with free soup or salad and breadsticks. The never-ending pasta bowl, only $6.95 for a short time at the Olive Garden, where generosity is a way of life.
Thanks to Sprint Business, now the world is flat. Introducing flat rate pricing for small businesses on all your long distance, even for Sprint 800 service. Enhanced fax and cellular long distance. One low flat rate for everything all over the country, so you know just what you're paying.
Now that's simple.
Call now for flat rate pricing. 1-800-827-3700. Call Sprint Business.
NBC News in depth tonight. Pope John Paul II in America. It's his first full day in this country and his first visit to New York City in 16 years. The occasion, the 50th anniversary of the United Nations. He was greeted by school children. Later, the Pope asked wealthy nations to do more to help the poor. And tonight, a papal mass in Giant Stadium in New Jersey. Even in the pouring rain, a crowd of 80,000 strong. But many American Catholics are conflicted. They love Pope John Paul II. His rigid dogma, another matter. Our in-depth report tonight on the Catholic Church in this country and change. It begins with NBC's Bob Abernathy.
Millions of American Catholics see John Paul II with a kind of double vision. They admire him greatly as a charismatic, many say saintly, pastor to the world, but at the same time they oppose many of the Pope's teachings. They feel caught in a culture war and charge the Pope is out of touch with modern life.
Since today's society is advancing more than what the Church is allowing, they're just too strict. They need to ease up a little.
But John Paul is unyielding. He condemns as a culture of death, artificial birth control, abortion, and capital punishment. He refuses to let priests marry. And on letting women become priests, the Pope says church teachings forbid it and all faithful Catholics must agree.
And that's exactly the slamming of the door that's so scary. I mean, it's unreal. There has to be discussion.
Critics of the Pope claim the Church's firm teachings in today's permissive world have divided Catholics in the pews from the hierarchy, alienated many women and young people, aggravated the priest shortage, and weakened the Pope's authority.
Those who respect life.
But John Paul insists church beliefs are rooted in Scripture and faith and that he must preach them.
He does what he is supposed to do, in season and out of season, when convenient and inconvenient.
There's little dissent among U.S. church leaders. For one reason, John Paul has now appointed 3/4 of the U.S. bishops, conservative men loyal to him. Another key to the Pope's strict rule is his experience in Poland, defending the church there against communist persecution.
When the church is being persecuted, you really have to pull together and be united. It's like an army under attack.
Today, although communism has been defeated in Europe, John Paul thinks the church still must be defended from what he brands savage capitalism.
I think the deepest challenge the Pope presents to American Catholics is one of materialism, of money, of possession. What do these mean? Are these the meaning of life? And he says no.
That's all very well and good for the Pope and for people who are prelates and nuns and priests who live in a very sheltered world, but for people who have to dance to whatever music's playing, it's kind of difficult.
So the lines are drawn. Pope and traditional church teachings versus independent-minded Americans struggling to be good Catholics in the modern world. Bob Abernethy, NBC News, New York.
Whatever the contradictions, Roman Catholics remain this country's largest single denomination, 60 million, and expected to grow to 74 million over the next decade. Many are choosing to practice their faith, however, on their own terms. NBC's Rahema Ellis tonight continues our in-depth reporting.
Tim Carey and Ann Bomlin are putting the finishing touches on their wedding plans.
Well, we'll be able to go through most of this at the rehearsal tomorrow night.
Raised Catholic, they'll have a traditional church ceremony, even though they're at odds with the Vatican on key issues, premarital sex and birth control. They believe they can use contraceptives and still be good Catholics.
I don't think I know one Catholic couple or single person that doesn't use it.
There's so many people that we know that are in the same situation that have remained with the Catholic Church but don't agree with every single issue.
That refusal to follow church doctrine on sexual matters has been one of the most troubling issues for Pope John Paul II since his election in 1978. Americans have become increasingly vocal in their disagreement. The Pope has repeatedly criticized what he calls cafeteria Catholics, people who pick and choose which church teachings they will follow. For America's 60 million Catholics, dissent is at an all-time high. In a poll released this week, 78% of Catholics say they do not believe that using artificial birth control is wrong. Only 15% of Catholics believe they should always follow the Church's teachings on moral issues, such as birth control and abortion. 79% believe it is possible to make up their own minds on these issues. One of those is Rob Gangitano. As a gay man, his lifestyle runs counter to Catholic teaching, which says under no circumstances can homosexual acts be approved.
It saddens me. It really does. It disappoints me because I have a lot to offer.
Gangitano hasn't given up on Catholicism, but the Catholic Mass he attends each week is said in an Episcopal church. The Vatican refuses to allow the gay Catholics Gangitano worships with, a group called Dignity, from holding Masses in Catholic churches. The Church's unwillingness to compromise on sexual issues has left many Catholics wondering about its relevance in their lives. Fewer than 1/3 say they now attend Mass regularly, and that has raised new questions about what it means to be a Catholic in today's world. For people like Chris and Mary Grace Gannon, being Catholic is a question of obeying the Pope's moral authority on issues like natural family planning.
You need to have one strong central voice crying out in the wilderness against all of these other forces that are trying to tear it down.
But for Catholic and abortion rights activist Frances Kissling, dissent is fundamental to Catholicism.
You can be a good Catholic and be pro-choice. The heart and root of Catholicism is following your conscience.
Tim and Ann Carey, now newlyweds, agree. They say they will remain in the church, but want to exercise their conscience too, even if that puts them at odds with traditional Catholic doctrine, a doctrine this Pope insists will not change. Rahema Ellis, NBC News, New York.
Tomorrow, the Pontiff will preside at a papal mass in Queens, New York. Saturday, another in New York Central Park, and then it's on to Baltimore for the Holy Father. I'll be back with more in a moment.
Mary Clary thinks her zipper bags are the best and will never switch to Gladlock zipper bags.
That's right, never.
But, Mary Clary, what do you say we lock you in this phone booth here with either your bag filled with angry bees or a Gladlock bag filled with angry bees? You see that green color change seal there, Mary? That shows you the Gladlock bag is closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
You know, change is good. I'll take the Gladlock zipper bag.
Just kidding, Mary. When it really counts, only Gladlock has the yellow and blue make green seal.
You got 3 minutes to shower, 5 minutes to shave, 2 minutes to get dressed, 30 seconds to pick a tie, 5 minutes to tie it, 1 minute to walk the dog, and 90 seconds to make your breakfast. That's plenty of time to dig into a bowl of instant Quaker oatmeal. The same nutritious oats as regular Quaker oatmeal, just cut finer to cook faster. One taste of that cinnamon and spice and you can handle anything. Like 1 hour of plumbing, 4 minutes of ducking, 10 minutes of squeezing. Quaker oatmeal. Oh, what those oats can do.
Bayer, powerful pain relief, and so much more.
The last one's left the house. It's just the two of you now. It's time for Create a Meal. It's a great meal without a big hassle. Brown your favorite meat, lay on a hearty measure of Green Giant's fresh-tasting veggies, our delicious Create a Meal sauce, and in 20 minutes, it's dinner, the way it used to be. It's a fresh solution to dinner. Create a Meal.
Ho, ho, ho.
Green Giant.
Dateline Friday, an exclusive one-on-one interview with the DA everyone wants to hear from. Gil Garcetti on the trial, the aftermath, and the future. Dateline NBC Friday.
There's new hope tonight for an end to the war in Bosnia. In Washington, the president announced agreement on a 60-day ceasefire, followed by peace talks later this month. The Bosnian Serbs also agreed to a key demand from the Muslim-led Bosnian government, that is opening roads between Sarajevo and Gorazde. The United Nations says that's such good news, they'll begin withdrawing almost 1/3 of their 30,000 peacekeepers starting later this month. But does that then mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground in Bosnia before too long? At the White House tonight, NBC's Brian Williams. Brian, what about the contingency planning for just that?
Well, Tom, the simple answer is yes. When the planning is done in about 2 weeks, it looks like 20 to 30,000 U.S. troops, part of a bigger force. They don't know which units yet. They don't want soldiers packing or families worrying just yet. But yes, they'll be there.
And do we know where they may be deployed once they get to Bosnia?
Various sites selected by the Pentagon and NATO. The president says if we don't get in this game, aides say that they fear the death of NATO. He says this is the price of getting in the game, and that is committing U.S. troops.
And peace talks, could some of them take place in the United States?
There are several different sites. The president earlier today said Washington. He has since been corrected. We are hearing New York, Maryland, West Virginia, Florida, and Georgia, but it still, as of tonight, is largely up in the air.
Thank you very much, Brian Williams, at the White House tonight. There's also word tonight that the president will now allow greater contact with Cuba, including more student and cultural exchanges, direct delivery of mail, the opening of news offices, and for Cuban Americans, 1 visit a year. However, most travel and most business still banned. On Wall Street, it was an up day. The Dow rose in very heavy trading today, and the NASDAQ was up as well. Now to NBC News Online. A high-tech milestone coming in aviation history, the coming of the high-altitude couch potato. Boeing plans to build planes next year equipped with small but powerful antennas that can receive real-time television signals by satellite. With TV screens installed in seatbacks, passengers would have up to 75 channels to choose from. Coffee, tea, or me. And videotape to die for. Not so friendly skies over Scotland, it turns out. Queen Elizabeth, out for a stroll in the Highlands, was struck in the shoulder by a falling grouse. Buckingham Palace said today that the Queen was bruised but not seriously hurt. The grouse, which had been shot by a hunter, was not so lucky. When we come back, fall, the season when a young male's fancy turns to love. Especially if you happen to be an elk.
Got any Tylenol, Mike?
No, but I've got this.
Oh, no, thanks. My doctor says ibuprofen can interfere with my high blood pressure medication.
My dad uses these, and he takes medicine for his blood pressure.
My doctor told me to use Tylenol. I mean, it works great, and he says it's safer for me.
I wonder if my dad knows this.
If you take ibuprofen, there are many reasons why Tylenol may be safer for you.
Look, I'll see you in 8 hours, and I'll bring some Tylenol for your dad.
Well, look at here. Last time I saw you, you was about this big.
You're getting so tall. What's your mom feeding you?
Kellogg's Rice Krispie cereal.
Oh, it's good for you.
Hold on. What are they saying? They're saying the big guy is full of hot air. Did they say that?
Low sugar, fat-free, plus Snap, Crackle, and Pop. What other cereal sounds so good?
Kellogg's Halloween Rice Krispies in special yellow and orange colors can make your Halloween scream.
Tonight at Red Lobster.
We're gonna ooh yeah.
We're gonna yeah. With our 2 dozen shrimp, just $8.99. Roasted shrimp with fresh veggies, plus scampi and fried shrimp. Our 2 dozen shrimp, just $8.99.
Red Lobster tonight.
We're proud to announce that this model not only passed that ball bearing test, it surpassed it.
It's my Dirt Devil MVP.
with maximum vacuum power. Just think what it can do in your home.
When I was young, Mom was always making sure I ate right.
It wasn't always easy.
Well, now we're listening to our doctors and taking better care of our health with Ensure.
Ensure is recommended #1 by doctors as a source of complete balanced nutrition.
More than a vitamin supplement, Ensure has all the nutrients adults need to help stay healthy, active, be energetic.
Drink Ensure as a meal.
Or in between, Ensure. To your health, Mom.
To our health.
Ensure. Doctors recommended #1.
Tomorrow on Today, Simpson defense attorney Barry Scheck on the verdict that has reverberated across the nation. Join us tomorrow and see what a difference today makes.
It has been an emotionally exhausting week for this country. The O.J. Simpson verdict and the fallout, Hurricane Opal, the exhilaration accompanying the papal visit. So to finish tonight, we take you to the American wilderness and an autumn ritual of majesty and mating. NBC's Roger O'Neill.
It is a majestic announcement of fall. It is a calling and a warning. In the mountains, the bugle of the bull elk resonates.
Oh, I can hear him. You hear that?
It's mating season.
Isn't he pretty?
Yeah.
In Rocky Mountain National Park, a call of the wild, which, to our delight, the elk don't seem to mind sharing. More than 100,000 people will come to the park during the months of September and October.
Folks, I'm going to be the party pooper and have you all back to your cars.
Keeping us from bothering them has become a major undertaking.
This whole area is under closure. Do I have a driver for this car right here? Got to be moved. You can't park on either side of the road.
Pretty crazy tonight, huh?
Yeah, it really is.
For the animals, especially the males, this is the most stressful time of the year.
We are looking now at the strongest bulls. They are not going to eat for 2 weeks, just so they can reproduce and make sure that their genes are passed on to the next generation of elk. This is the peak now of the mating season.
The male bugle serves two purposes. It calls in the females.
Something's going on.
And it warns other males to stay away from the harem.
Get out of here.
Cows are attracted to bulls by the size of their antlers, or rack. The Indians used to call this the call of the Wapiti. Whatever it's called, it is a special reminder of nature's wildness. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Rocky Mountain National Park.
The second part of this majestic moment comes next spring around Memorial Day, when the calves from the cows of the Wapiti begin to dot the wilderness landscape. That's Nightly News for Thursday. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here tomorrow night.